Election Commission to House panel, state funding won't help, need radical changes to monitor poll expenditure. What is state or public funding of elections? What is direct and indirect state funding of elections? What is the significance of state funding? Do you think state funding of political parties can fight corruption? GS Paper 2, Salient Features of the Representation of People's Act. What is the context about? In the middle of demands for state funding of elections, the Election Commission, EC, has categorically told a parliamentary panel that it is not in favor of the move. It has, instead, called for radical changes in the provisions regarding receipt of funds and expenditure by political parties to ensure complete transparency. The EC said that the exemption to political parties from reporting details of donations received through electoral bonds is a retrograde step. What is state or public funding of elections? This means that government gives funds to political parties or candidates for contesting elections. Its main purpose is to make it unnecessary for contestants to take money from powerful moneyed interests so that they can remain clean. In some countries, state funding is extended to meeting some specific forms of spending by political parties, not confined to electioneering alone. Countries keep changing laws relating to state funding depending on experience and financial condition. What is direct and indirect state funding of elections? Direct funding means giving funds directly to political parties or candidates. Indirect funding takes the form of various subsidies or access. Indirect funding can take the form of subsidized or free media access, tax benefits, free access to public spaces for campaign material display, provision of utilities and travel expenses, transport, security, etc. What is the significance of state funding? Political parties and candidates need money for their electoral campaigns, to keep contacts with their constituencies, to prepare policy decisions and to pay professional staff. Therefore, public funding is a natural and necessary cost of democracy. Public funding can limit the influence of interested money and thereby help curb corruption. Public funding can increase transparency in party and candidate finance and thereby help curb corruption. If parties and candidates are financed with only private funds, economical inequalities in the society might translate into political inequalities in government. Do you think state funding of political parties can fight corruption? Election campaigns in India require huge amounts of money and the costs of routine political activity between elections are also substantial. Political parties often depend on private contributions often acquired through questionable means. Business houses and entrepreneurs often donate money and seek to influence government decisions. State funding will bring equality to electoral contests by removing the disadvantage faced by parties which represent socially and economically weaker sections with limited access to such big donors. This will bring more transparency to the way political parties and elections work in India.